So if you, or maybe someone you know, is managing type 2 diabetes, you've probably heard the standard advice for exercise. And it always sounds the same, right?
Oh, yeah. Go for a walk. Get on a bike. Maybe swim.
Exactly. Cardio, cardio, cardio.
Yeah.
And it's not bad advice, but it's not the whole story.
It's foundational for sure. But by focusing almost exclusively on aerobic exercise, we've had this huge strategic blind spot in managing T2D. We've pretty much overlooked the single most powerful tool for metabolic health,
Which is resistance training, weightlifting.
Yep.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We've gone through a comprehensive guide that makes a really strong case that weightlifting should be a cornerstone, not just some add-on for anyone managing P2D.
And we're going to distill the absolute must-knows for you. The source material is really compelling. It goes way beyond just, building muscle. It gets right into the cellular mechanics, the cardiovascular benefits, even mental well-being.
Right. We're looking for the sustainable long-term solution here. Not just managing symptoms, but really changing the whole metabolic equation.
And to do that, we have to start at the very core, the main physiological benefit, which is improved insulin sensitivity.
Okay, let's unpack that right away, because improved sensitivity is kind of the holy grail of diabetes management. So for anyone listening, they know that in type 2, the cells basically stop listening to insulin.
Right, the signal gets lost.
So what is weightlifting doing on like a molecular level to fix that communication breakdown?
It's actually, it's highly technical, but also incredibly elegant. So when we say cells aren't responding, we're talking about a problem with how glucose transporters get to the surface of the muscle cell.
Transporters.
Specifically, something called GLUT4 receptors. Think of them as tiny doorways on the muscle cell that open up to let glucose in from your blood.
Okay, so with insulin resistance, those doors are stuck shut and the sugar just builds up in the bloodstream.
Exactly. But here's the amazing part. Insulin is what usually tells those doors to open. Resistance training, though, it activates a completely different parallel pathway.
A backup system.
Sort of. When you challenge your muscles lifting weights, using bands, even body weight, the mechanical stress itself tells the muscle cell to make more of these GLUT4 doorways, and it pushes them to the surface, even without a strong insulin signal.
Wow. So lifting weights basically finds a workaround for the faulty insulin signal. It just physically forces more of those glucose pathways to open.
Precisely. And that means your muscle tissue gets way more effective at pulling glucose out of your blood to use for energy.
Just during the workout?
No, and this is critical both during the exercise and for hours afterwards. As the muscles recover and, restock their energy, the muscle itself becomes a much more efficient glucose disposal unit.
And that change, that's what makes this a sustainable approach. The source mentioned this can even reduce the need for certain medications over time. That's a huge payoff.
It is. It's about building up your body's own internal resilience. When you look at managing a chronic condition, being less reliant on pharmaceuticals is a massive win, both physically and psychologically.
You're using your own body to do the job.
Exactly. You've created a significant lifelong advantage for yourself.
Okay, so that's the cellular level. Let's zoom out a bit to the structural benefit. Here's where it gets really interesting for me, because we're talking about building and keeping muscle for the long haul.
And we have to talk about aging, specifically the decline in muscle that comes with it. It's a huge complicating factor. The technical term is sarcopenia.
Sarcopenia. Most people just think of that as, getting frail, maybe being more likely to fall. Why is it so bad specifically for someone managing type 2 diabetes?
Because your muscle tissue is the #1 place glucose goes. It's the main consumer. So when you lose muscle mass, you are literally losing the best machinery you have for controlling your blood sugar.
Oh.
And we see that sarcopenia actually accelerates insulin resistance. It's this vicious negative feedback loop. Diabetes can make you lose muscle, and losing muscle makes your diabetes much harder to manage.
So if you're not actively fighting that with resistance training, you're not just getting physically weaker, you're actually making your body worse at handling sugar.
That is the crucial connection. Regular weightlifting breaks that cycle. It preserves the muscle you have, and even in older adults, it stimulates new muscle growth.
You're investing in your metabolic future.
You're keeping your main glucose processing factory open for business.
Which leads right into the big metabolic benefits.
Yeah.
We all know obesity is a major risk factor, and we always hear cardio is the key to burning fat. But weightlifting has an advantage here that cardio just can't match right.
That's the key distinction. Cardio is great. It burns calories while you're doing it, but resistance training, It does something different. It creates a structural change in your body that makes you burn more calories 20/47.
Because muscle is more metabolically active than fat, even when you're just sitting there.
Exactly. To be specific, as your lean muscle mass goes up, your basal metabolic rate, your BMR, also goes up. This just means your body gets better at burning calories, often just to maintain that new muscle.
Even at rest.
Even while you sleep.
So you're setting up this partnership where your muscles are doing some of the work for you constantly. What does that mean for weight management in the real world?
It means fat loss becomes much more achievable.
Yeah.
And sustainable. If you only rely on diet and cardio, the second you ease up, the weight can come right back.
Right.
But by adding muscle, you fundamentally raise the floor of how much energy you burn every day. You're making your muscles better at taking in glucose, and you're reducing the amount of body fat that contributes to the problem in the first place.
It's an incredible synergy. Okay, let's pivot a bit away from glucose and muscle to something that I think surprises a lot of people: cardiovascular health. The assumption is, if you want a healthy heart, you run. If you want big arms, you lift. But the source material shows major heart health gains from weightlifting.
Yes, and the source really clears up that misconception that resistance training isn't cardio. It's not the same, of course. It doesn't sustain a high heart rate like a long run. But it challenges the heart and your circulatory system in a really unique and beneficial way.
How does that work? What's actually happening inside your body when you, say, lift a heavy set of squats?
Well, your blood pressure spikes temporarily to overcome that resistance. And that short, controlled burst of pressure actually forces your vascular system to adapt. Over time, it's been shown to improve the elasticity of your arteries and enhance your overall circulation.
So you get that spike during the lift, but the long-term benefit is actually a lower baseline strain on your heart.
Absolutely. The measurable long-term results are a lower resting heart rate. And for many people, significantly lower chronic blood pressure. And for individuals with type 2 diabetes, these benefits they're just not optional, they're critical.
Why so critical for this group in particular?
Because T2D inherently puts you at a much higher risk for cardiovascular complications. We're talking heart disease, stroke. High blood sugar is incredibly damaging to blood vessel walls. So by lifting weights, you are actively reducing that stress on your heart and making your blood vessels healthier. You're directly tackling the #1 cause of serious complications associated with the condition.
That really puts it in the category of preventative medicine, not just, going to the gym.
It is.
So we've covered the body from the cells to the heart. But maybe the most important part of sticking with anything long-term is the psychological piece. The mental health aspect.
Oh, the psychological impact is immense. And it's so often overlooked in clinical chats about exercise. Living with a chronic condition like type 2 diabetes is stressful. It requires constant attention, which can easily lead to things like anxiety and depression.
And depression just kills motivation, right? It makes it so much harder to stick with the diet, the exercise, everything.
Precisely. And what the research shows is that resistance training is a powerful mood regulator. It doesn't just relieve symptoms of anxiety. It fosters something much more valuable for managing a chronic disease.
What's that?
Empowerment.
That feeling of being in control of your own health?
Yes. Think about it. Progress in strength training is so tangible. It's not abstract. You can see it immediately. You lifted 5 more pounds this week. You did 3 more reps. That sense of accomplishment, that feedback, it boosts your confidence and your self-efficacy.
That feedback loop is everything. If you feel physically stronger, more capable, you're probably way more likely to stick with all the other hard stuff, like checking your glucose and planning meals.
It's the mental fuel that sustains the physical effort. You start to see yourself not as someone who is just managing a decline, but as someone who is actively building strength and taking control. And that confidence leads directly to better adherence across the board, which means better health outcomes.
This has been an incredibly thorough look. It's clear that weightlifting isn't just a nice to have, it's really a multi-layered defense strategy.
To sum it all up, yes, the source material is clear. Resistance training improves insulin sensitivity through that amazing GLUT4 mechanism. It fights off sarcopenia, it boosts your metabolism 24/7 for better weight management, and it provides vital protection for your heart while giving you the mental empowerment you need to stick with it for life.
So for the listener who's convinced, who is ready to start, what's the essential advice from the source on getting started safely? Because, the risk of injury is real.
Safety is everything, and the source really hammers 2 critical points. First, start slow. Slower than you think. You can begin with just your body weight. Consistency and good form are so much more important than how much you lift, especially at the beginning.
And the second point?
This one is non-negotiable. Seek guidance. Talk to your doctor, or even better, find a certified personal trainer who has experience with clinical populations. They can create a program that's safe for you and ensures you're doing things correctly.
Building that foundation safely is everything. It's about creating a habit for life, not just doing a crash course.
Exactly right. Consistency is the magic ingredient.
So what does this all mean looking forward?
Well, if building lean muscle makes your body better at burning calories and managing glucose even while you sleep, just consider that for a second. You can forge this ongoing 24/7 metabolic partnership with your own body just by consistently challenging it with controlled resistance. And it makes you wonder, what other foundational parts of your health could you improve just by making that one simple, consistent adjustment? The real power here is that resistance training offers continuous protection, turning your body into an active partner in your health long after you've put the weights down for the day.